In thinking about how this works out in practical ways, this idea of discipline not being about severity but about connection and consistency, and how that applies to daily lives, one of the other things that we've said is that voice really matters. Our voice as parents has huge significance. And one of the things that you might have noticed is that homes have changed a lot over the last generation or two. There's now a phrase that is very common, particularly for young couples as they have their first child, and it's a phrase called child-friendly homes. Child-friendly homes. They weren't really around a generation ago. And there is a whole industry built around it. If you Google child-friendly homes, Amazon will have dozens and dozens and dozens of appliances to help. Essentially, what it means is you rid the house of ornaments that can be knocked over or anything delicate. And there are all sorts of great pieces of equipment and technology available, whether it's stair gates or cupboard clips or fridge clips or oven clips or switch clips or you name it. There is a market for it where it is possible to entirely kit out a home where the child can neither do damage or be damaged. So there's all sorts of padding to make sure that their fingers can't be nipped in a door, or pads if they fall over for the coffee table, or different types of foam if there's a step somewhere in case they fall over. And essentially, a child-friendly house, a child-friendly home, is one where the child can neither do damage nor be damaged. The child can't damage the stuff in your home, and your home can't damage it. There's clips and there's padding, and some of that is amazing because it stops certain injuries and accidents that are really serious, and some of it is great. But when you take the whole thing together, actually it has quite a big effect. Because one of the things that we wanted to remember is that we're to protect our children from the world, but we're also to prepare our children for the world. That the world is going to hurt our children. They are going to have accidents. Now, if what happens is in the home, it is impossible for them to hurt themselves. They haven't experienced or explored what pain is and how dangerous it is. And actually, when they get out into the big bad world, it is going to hurt them. And one of the things that children are to develop is a sense of risk, a sense of danger, in order to keep themselves safe. But the other side is not only can a child-friendly home not hurt the child, but the world will, but nor can the child damage anything in the home. And this is where the principle that we were talking about of our voice matters. How does that interact with a child-friendly home? Because actually there can be two things in competition with each other. What creates the boundary for the child? Is it technology and appliance, or is it the parent's voice? And while lots of these appliances are great to help promote safety, when you take the whole package together, sometimes what can happen is technology can replace the parent's voice. Don't open up that cupboard. What stops the child opening up the cupboard? Is it the voice, or is it the clip? Don't open the fridge. What stops the child opening the fridge? Is it the voice or is it the clip? Don't go up the stairs. What is it that stops the child going up the stairs? Is it the gate or is it the parent's voice? Now you multiply that up with every possible thing that a child could be getting into, what happens is the parent's voice has been replaced by technology and appliance. And in the short term, that means, the cupboards aren't messed around and the fridge isn't pulled out. But what happens when you then put them out into the garden and you say, don't go onto the road? Actually, we've spent the early years teaching the children that they don't need to listen to the voice, they listen to the clips. That there's something that stops them opening the cupboard, so that whenever you send them out into the garden and you say don't go on the road, if they haven't learnt that your voice is the boundary, unless there's a big wall and a big gate there, they're going to go on the road. What about when they get a little bit older and they're off with their friends further out, and you say don't leave the housing estate? Well, unless there's a gate there that stops them, what is it that will stop them? Because if in the early years they haven't learnt to listen to your voice, what happens is you actually rob them of independence. Because unless there's something physically there to stop them, you won't have confidence that they will listen. And one of the things that we have to be careful with is in child-friendly homes, is that our voice is not replaced by an appliance. Because actually our home is their first safety zone. Actually, it's their second. The womb is the first safety zone, but our home is the second safety zone. And one of the biggest jobs that we parents have in those early formative years is to teach them that they can trust our voice. Because when they get out into the garden and into their neighbour's house and into school, if all they have ever been taught is to pull cupboards until they don't open and then move to the next, if it's the appliances that create the boundaries, what happens when there's no appliances? And so what you will find is if a child if a parent has replaced their voice with technology, when the child goes to the neighbour's house or goes out onto the street to play or goes to school, they have not learnt to follow people's voices. They've only learnt to follow what technology stops them from doing. But there's another one related to that isn't where technology replaces the voice, but intervention replaces the voice. I want you to imagine for a second, so there's a nice piece of chocolate sitting on the table, and your child is eyeing it up, and you say to the child, don't touch the chocolate, we're waiting for after dinner till we have that piece of chocolate. Don't touch the chocolate. Imagine they now grab the chocolate. What do you do? Because this is actually a chance to decide, what am I teaching my children to listen to? Am I teaching them to listen to intervention, or am I teaching them to listen to my voice? Because if the child grabs the piece of chocolate, and then I grab the child and pull the chocolate out of their hand, what I've taught them is they don't have to listen to my voice when I say don't touch the chocolate. Actually, they really mean it when they grab me and they take the chocolate off me. And so the next time I say don't take the chocolate or don't pick up the cake or don't touch that, they will grab it until I grab them and take it off them. Instead, if I say don't touch the chocolate and they come and grab it, if I don't move a muscle, but I looked very shocked, and I say, leave that back while you still have the chance, they will either leave it back, or that is when whatever form of discipline you choose, that is when the discipline kicks in. Because the biggest thing that we parents need to get across is our voice matters. And the next time they go to a piece of chocolate, if we say, don't touch it, they know we mean it. That it's not the intervention that's important. What's important is that they listen to our voice. It's the same if you're in the park and you tell your child, come over here, If they don't, are you going to do intervention or are you going to do voice? Because if they run away, if we chase them and grab them and pull them with us, again, what we've told the child is what really matters is when they intervene. But if you stay still and you say, I'm not going to ask you again, I've asked you to come here. Either they will come here or they will continue to run, at which point, whatever discipline you hold to be your highest card has to kick in. So that the next time it happens and you say, come here, if they go to run away, they know you're serious. They know that your voice is what matters. But what we mustn't do as parents is we mustn't replace our voice either with technology or with intervention. Because our voice is what matters. And our home is the place where if we teach them to know that our voice is a voice that loves them and respects them and that they can trust, it means that actually they will have independency to go out into the world. Whereas if we've relied on technology, if we've relied on intervention, we're not actually giving them more freedom. We're stifling their freedom and stifling their independence. Because we'll be scared to let them go and play in the garden by themselves, because who knows what they do. We'll be scared to let them go to the neighbours, because who knows what they do. And when they go to school, they'll get in trouble because there's no technology there, there's no intervention there to grab them, to stop them, because they're supposed to listen to teacher's voice. Because our voice matters. And actually what we have to realize is God has given us a wonderful ability to tune into what matters. We often call it selective hearing. And actually it's a gift, because there are so many sounds in the world that our hearing has to be selective. We can't treat every sound with the same amount of importance. So what God has given us is this gift to train our ears to what's important. And that has huge significance for children, because actually we can train our ears to tune into what is most precious and important to us. You'll find this when we go to birthday parties or parties with children. And I remember one of the first times I was there, and it was Tanya who was trying to get, my wife who was trying to get the attention of the kids, and they were running around so excited with their friends and their buddies. And my wife called the children in a loud voice, in a voice that should have been heard, and the children totally didn't hear it. Just kept running and playing. And then a little while later, I pulled them over to the side and I said, did you hear Mummy calling you a few minutes ago? And they looked at me and said, we didn't hear her. I said, okay, yeah, it's probably because you're having so much fun, there was so much going on, so exciting. But actually Mummy was there and she was trying to call you over because she had something really important to tell you. And my girl said, well, we just didn't hear. I said, no, I know. When you get excited like that, it's very hard to hear. But do you know what God has given us a wonderful gift of? You see, we can actually teach our ears to listen for what's really important. Do you know one of the things I've taught my ears to do? And they said, what have you taught your ears to do? I said, no matter where I am or who's around me, you see if Tanya, that's my wife, see if Tanya speaks, my ears will hear it, because I just think she is the best woman in the whole world, and she is precious to me. And see if she speaks, my ears will pick it up, because she is precious to me. And I've trained them and taught my ears to listen for her words, because her words are just the best. And so I'd love you to try the same, because see your mummy, she loves you to bits. And see when you're at a party, she won't, if you're having fun, she won't stop you unless she has something really important to say to you. But see if she calls you. I want you to teach your ears to listen for her voice. Can you try that? I said they'd try it. And I talked to them about that from time to time, and then the next time we were at a party, I was sitting beside Tanya, and the girls came in, and it was getting close to time, and we were going to give them their 5 minute. We're going to head off soon. And so I said to Tanya, just in your normal voice, would you call the girls? And she called the girls in a normal voice, and they were laughing, they were playing, they were having giddy. And what I couldn't get over was that as soon as she spoke, the girls were like little meerkats looking for her voice, because they had trained their ears that mummy's voice is so important. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to teach our children that our voice matters. Because if we can teach them to trust our voice, to know that we love and respect them, and that our voice is actually something that will bring them freedom and independence and give them a chance to explore. If they are confident of that, actually, as we use our home as a safety zone where we teach them to respect our voice, we will be able to send them out into the world knowing that they respect the values and they respect the boundaries that have been put in place. And actually it gives them independence quicker.